All right, welcome back. We are building directly off the last one. So the last one, we're writing equations of a line, and we're being given a slope and a point. Okay, so we saw what that process was like. When you're given a slope and a point, you need to solve for b because that's the missing piece that we need. Then we're able to write the equation. For this video, we're going to be talking about writing an equation of a line, also in slope-intercept form, but we're going to be given just 2 points this time, okay? So we're going to be given 2 points, neither is the y-intercept, okay? So a reminder, we want it to look like y equals mx plus b, where the slope and the y-intercept are filled in. If we're being given 2 points, do we know either of those things? We do not know either of those things. Not this time, okay? But what can we find out now? What do we know how to find out? We know how to find slopes when we're given 2 points. We can figure out what is the rise and what is the run between these 2 points. And then we can kind of follow up on our process from last time for solving for b, okay? So let's give this a try. We'll try to write down some steps here, okay? So the first one we're going to do is a line going through the points, -3, 3, and 1, 5. So we're writing the equation of the line that goes through these 2 points. So when given 2 points, we need to find the slope. This is stuff that's going to go in section 2 of your notes, okay? So to find the slope, we're going to use that slope formula. Difference of the y's divided by the difference of the x's. Okay? If you want to, you can label your points over here, right? You got x1, y1, x2, y2, right? So let's work to find the slope. So m equals difference of our y, so we're going to have 5 minus 3, and our difference of our x is 1 minus a -3. Keep track of your negatives there in that denominator. So 5 minus 3 is a 2. Minus a negative in the denominator will become addition, so we got 1 plus 3. So we get 4. 2/4. We need to make sure we simplify our slopes. 2/4 simplifies to 1/2. So we now have an m. All right, we know our slope is a 1/2. So we now can kind of revisit what we did last time. We know part of our answer now. We know our answer should have a 1/2. It should be y equals 1/2 x. We just need to figure out what our plus or minus b portion is, okay? So step 2 now is going to be, kind of plug in m, x, and y to solve for b. So now you have 2 points now. So we've got this -3, 3, and we've got this 1, 5. You can choose either point. You just need to pick one. Pick the one that looks more advantageous to you, okay? So if you were to pick one of these, which one would you pick? Most people are going to be gravitating towards that 1 and that 5, the 1, 5, because it doesn't have negatives. Also, it has a 1. 1s tend to be nice. So let's go ahead and use that one. All right, so we are going to now, let me use a green. Hopefully that's okay. We're going to plug in our m, x, and y that we've chosen. So we're going to choose this 1, 5. So we got 5 equals 1/2 times 1 plus b. All right. Just work to evaluate what you can, solve for b. So we got 1 times 1/2. That's just 1/2. All right. At this point, you can do this one of 2 ways. We have our strategy of multiplying the entire equation by something. Maybe we'll save that for a minute. I've just got 1/2 here. I'm going to subtract 1/2. Right, get b by itself. So b is 5 minus 1/2. Just to make sure we represent this correctly as a fraction. 5 whole, right? 5 whole is 10 halves. So that will be 9 halves. So write step 3, write your final equation. In slope-intercept form. So for us, we're writing y equals mx plus b with the m and the b filled in. Our m was 1/2, and our b is 9/2. That is a successful equation. Okay, write down any questions you have. Let's do that process one more time. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a new page here. So our second one that we're going to do, I would like to write the equation of a line that goes through the points -6, 3 and 4, -3. Okay. So a reminder, step one, right? We're not given the slope. We need to find the slope, and then we'll work to find the y-intercept. So we've got x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's use our slope formula. Difference of the y's and difference of the x's. Again, being mindful that we deliberately keep track of our negatives here. On top, -3 minus 3 more is -6. And in the denominator, minus a negative will turn into addition. We have 4 plus 6, so we get 10. -6/10. 6/10 simplifies to 3/5. So we now know our slope. Okay. Now we've got a slope. We need to use one of the points. We're working to solve for b. So we know we're going to plug in that -3/5. We just need to make a decision. Do we want to plug in this first point or the second point? Neither of these look particularly more or less friendly. They both have a negative each. So I'm just going to use this first one, okay? I'm going to use this as my x and this is my y, the -6, 3. You can use the other one. You should end up with the same answer as me. Maybe you just test yourself and try that out. So I'm going to plug in a 3, a -3/5, and a -6. Just going to work to simplify and solve for b. So we've got a 3. We got a negative times a negative here, so it's going to end up being a positive. 6 times that 3 in the numerator gives me 18/5. So I get 18/5 plus b. All right. With this one, I'm going to use a slightly different strategy. I'm going to use that strategy we talked about previously in Module 2, where if you have an equation with a fraction in it, you can multiply the entire equation by the denominator or a least common denominator. And that kind of saves the fractions for the very end. So since we have 18/5, I can get rid of that fifths, and I'm going to multiply the entire equation by 5. So I multiply each piece by 5. Let me make that 5 look a little better. So we get 15, right? That 5 multiplied and that 5 divided kind of are opposite ideas, so we just left with 18. Then make sure you multiply this b by 5, okay? Now, solve for b. We subtract 18 on both sides. So we get -3 equals 5b. One last step, divide by 5. So we get b equals -3/5. All right. With this one, our m and b ended up being the exact same number. So we get y equals -3/5 x, right? M is filled in, and now b is filled in as well. And that is a successful equation. Okay. All right. Great job. I'll see you for one last video for video lecture 9. We're on video lecture 9. See ya.